Now this may seem uncomfortable to you, but to my Coleus, this is a vacation in paradise. Hey, this Jim from Jim's. Let's try this again. This is Jim from Jim's Coleus. I don't like it myself personally. I'll take this over a winter storm or a freezing cold sub-zero day any day, but it is a little uncomfortable to hang out here in the greenhouse. But I need to get in here and do what I just did, is give all of these Coleus a much needed drink. Now, again, I said it in the past, it's essential to have a fan going, especially on a day like today. Fans out there right now because I need to get this done. What I did is I moved a lot of the smaller tender plants over here on the side where there's a little bit more shade, and I just gave them all a really good drink. They're starting to recover. They look terrible when I walked in here, and I gave them a really good drink yesterday. So here in New Jersey, we're in the midst of a really, really hot, you know, it's just brutal. It's 100, it's about 98 sustained, like 115 heat index. So as I'm sitting in here losing around 5 pounds a minute, I can use that. I'm just making sure all the Coleuses are well watered. Make sure they got lots of moisture. You know, they don't like to be dried out. They don't like dried out soil. But if you know, it's going to happen when you have a small pot like this. So the only time that your Coleus is going to get really damaged from it is if it's just constant, sustained, dry, where you don't water it for days on end, and then you give it water and it comes back a little bit, and then you do it again, and it's constantly getting drained. I mean, a little pot like this here, it's going to dry out in no time, so I put it over in the shade. But you know, big pots like these that have good quality soil, they have their root system is pretty established. It's a mature plant. All these Coleus that I raise are sun hardened, so they're used to this. This is part of their makeup, their genetics. They understand it. So you're going to see your leaves initially start folding up, curling up. That's we'll give you an example. Here we go. That's just your Coleus saying, hey man, I got to protect myself because things aren't too copacetic out here. Whether it's too cold or too hot, this is just the Coleus covering up, just like you would go look for an umbrella or look for shade. This is your Coleus plant looking for shade to protect itself from the harsh sun. And then again, I have a 40% shade cloth in here. Maybe next year I'll up it a little bit. I think I will do that. But I gave these a good drink. They're gonna come back. Of course, if the sun is, you know, on that, they're gonna stay. You know, they got a little damage there. I got to trim these. These really need to be trimmed. I'm actually off tomorrow, so I'm gonna be able to get in here. It's gonna be cooler. I think we're gonna be getting some storms, which is gonna be really good, as long as they're not heavy, you know, windy. It's gonna be thunderstorms and so forth. But that's good for these. But again, I just gave all of these a good drink, and that does a double. There's a double benefit with that. It's going to cool it off in here a little bit once I get the fan going again, and all that moisture, that humidity. I mean, this is an extreme. So, but all that humidity, all that moisture that's on the ground in here, in the floor, is gonna turn into its humidity, and the Coleus are going to thrive with that because they love hot, humid weather. So they're going to thrive even more. So I know I said in the past, you don't want to soak your Coleus plants, but your main thing is to make sure your pots are drained on a day like today. And now it's pretty early in the afternoon, so I got a full day. We got a full day and evening of sun. So I gave these a good drenching. I mean, I soaked them really good, and because I know that it's not going to rot the roots because they're not going to be sitting overnight. Now, overnight, if you don't want to do this late in the evening, like at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and soak them and then have them sit all night in saturated soil, especially if the next couple of days are going to be overcast and then the soil. You don't want your Coleus plants to be sitting any extended period of time in saturated soil, because that's when you start getting problems with your roots. But on a day like today and tomorrow, it's going to be very, very hot. A lot of that's going to evaporate, so I'm not concerned at all. These are going to pop. You can see that. You can see that one pop back. So we don't need time lapse here in June's Coleus greenhouse. We're seeing the real time. We're seeing our plants come right back. So if you're in an area that has sustained heat all the time like this, you can really take those tips I gave you and apply them on a daily basis. Just make sure your Coleus are well watered. Make sure they get some shade. They do like sun, but when it starts getting really harsh like this, you want to get them into shade. So I'm going to go over real quick and take a quick look at some of my plants on my property and what I did with them. All right, here we are. Hey, again, it's so hot here in New Jersey. Now, I could, I keep my Coleus along my fence line here in my backyard. Now, in the morning and up to about now, it gets sustained really, direct sun. So when I got home, now I work nights. When I got home, after I got up, these were really, really wilted. And again, if you find your Coleus plants all wilted and they look like they're dead, they're not. But what I did, because it's so harsh, now if I left them there, it would have been fine. I could have just watered them, and they would come right back like these here. But I wanted to get these out of the heat. I put them on the shady side of the house. I mean, they're little pots and they're hard to move, particularly the black stockings here, because as you can see, it's really growing tremendously. But I really want to get this plant going, so I want to really help it out. So I gave them a really good drink. Got the hose out. Watering cans are essential. It just makes it a little easier when you don't want to drag a hose all over the place. But I gave them all a really good saturation, because again, they're drained. You can see they're well drained. They're going to be out in the sustained heat all night, so I don't have to worry about root rot. So I'm going to leave them here for tonight. I have to go into work, but they'll be fine. And again, these were so wilted when I came out here earlier. I gave them a good drenching. And I guess so that they're well watered, they're fine. Again, the only time you're going to lose your plants, when people say, "Oh, I can't keep a plant alive," it's because they're not caring for them. They're not watered in them every day. Or every other day. I mean, a pot like this can sustain a few days without water, but again, here in New Jersey, we're in a real bad heat snap. And I'm by the water. I'm 2 blocks from the ocean. I'm getting a nice breeze from the ocean, but it feels almost like when you open up your toaster oven door. So, but still, the only time when you lose your plants is if you neglect them for days on end, especially Coleus. They don't, they'll start to get sick. You'll start to get all sorts of problems because they don't like dry soil. And we're talking, if you miss a day, as I had mentioned in the greenhouse, if you miss a day here and there, that's okay. But sustained, regular, just letting it completely dry out where the plant is, where you pick it up and there's no weight, is not good. That's where you're going to have problems. But if you get it watered regularly, fertilization is key. So you're getting, it's just like it's no different in your human body. You get your vitamins, you keep yourself healthy, hydrated. It's no different than your human body. So you got good food, you eat good food, you have good surroundings, you have good soil, good roots. You're going to be fine. Your plant is going to be fine, and it'll be able to make it through days like we're experiencing here in New Jersey, where the heat index is 115 degrees, 105. So again, make sure you get them saturated pretty well. As long as you don't want to do it late at night, where they're sitting hours on end in saturated soil, because that's when you can weaken the plant and possibly get into root problems. So tomorrow and the next day, it's supposed to cool off a little bit. We're going to get some thunderstorms, so Again, I wouldn't saturate these at night. But again, I'm not concerned, because again, we're going to get some heavy thunderstorms tomorrow, so they're going to get saturated. And again, as I had mentioned in all my other videos, there's nothing like a good natural rainstorm. So, all right, so I hope this helps out everybody. If you're experiencing a heat wave, or if you live in a country or a state that gets, this is just a walk in the park to you. You're probably, so many people in Florida are probably laughing at me, saying, "Oh, are you kidding me? This is it. This is day for us. This is every day." So I envied you. So okay. Anyway, I hope this helps out everybody. Any questions, comments? Please give me a ring on a notification bell, that is, and will get back to you. Thank you for watching. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. I got lots of good videos on everything you need to know on raising and caring for and enjoying the best Coleus out there. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.